Gadson is out on Herrera. He's out on Herrera by 18 thousandths of a second. He's tracking toward the center line. Gadson got him. 688.4, 196 miles an hour. Richard Gadson. They both leave. Hall was out first. Hall is trying to run down Gadson. Gadson Suzuki Hayabusa is looking good. Finish line stripe, it's Gadson. 675.6 at 100.
Class that has been the chaos machine all day long, and it's only fitting that they round us out here at the 4-wide Nationals. Zipping off the starting line, a 15 line for Richard Gadson. Matt Smith trying to catch him at the finish line stripe. Wind light on for Gadson. 680 at 199. Third career win. The four-cylinder Suzuki engine screaming off the starting line. Gadson was 0-11 to Davis's 31. And Richard Gadson, 679 beats a 681. And Richard Gadson has officially taken high control of Pro Stock Motorcycle.
Go to the stage, a first-time champion in NHRA Drag Racing, Richard Gadson.
Welcome back. Welcome back. How we doing tonight, Richard?
Pretty good, man. How you doing, buddy? Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, I appreciate you taking some time and coming back. I know you got a busy schedule being the champion. Now coming back, I know last time you were here, you said you had mentioned to even be synonymous with being an NHRA Pro Stock Motorcycle champion is a dream. Here we are. How does it feel? Tell me about it.
It's crazy, man. I was just yesterday we were driving. And I told my girl, I said, yeah, it's starting to hit me. I said, it's starting to hit me because, I just started about like Dave Schultz and Johns and just the word NHRA, the phrase, I should say, NHRA Pro Stock Motorcycle World Champion. I just kept like kind of circling all that in my mind. And, I've had to kind of do some stuff like that to kind of help drive it home for me because it's been a weird month or so. It's been a strange little deal since the championship, but every now and again I kind of have those moments where it all sinks in. I'm like, this is pretty wild, so I'm enjoying it, man.
That's a big deal. Those are big names you mentioned. The Dave Schultz, the Sunoco bikes of back in the day, like all that to be etched in the history books is and knowing how you did it, listening to your championship speech, man, you don't really hear of somebody packing some clothes in a car and just going and making it happen nowadays. Back in the day, people got away with that and they could do it. Tell me about that. And tell me about the trials and like leading up to, Pomona and realizing I'm a champion and all that, coming to a head. Tell me about that.
I wouldn't say that I got away with it, man, to be honest with you. It was, so in that speech where you hear me say I made a mess of it, I really did. You kind of need a little bit of structure than what I had, and I said sleeping on people's couches. A lot of times that was true. I would work at I worked at quite a few bike shops. Somebody would call that's got a motorcycle shop and they'd be like, hey man, I'm looking for somebody to help me grow this thing. I'd move to wherever that shop was, just chasing it, trying to find my fit, trying to find my spot, trying to find a way to make money, trying to find a way that, I was always a really, really, really smart kid, but mechanical engineering for 1 year and we couldn't really afford to stay in school. And I thought I was going to go make money doing this. So that's where kind of the journey started at 19. Man, it wasn't pretty. There's a lot of time where I was like, what the heck? Even close friends of mine were like, Richard, you really need to like get a job and like you need to like grow up. You need to get a job. This isn't how you do things. This isn't good. You're getting older. You're going to have family one day, blah, 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 blah. And one of those friends who used to say that to me called me yesterday. And he was like, man, it was all it was all pieces to the puzzle. It was all for a reason. This trial or tribulation landed you here, which pushed you to here, which pushed you to there, which ended up where I'm at right now. It's not until something like this happens to where it all kind of starts to make sense. You can remember back on some things and say, you know what, if this didn't ever happen, I may not have ever met Chris Bostic, and I may have not ever started tuning a pro stock bike, and I may not be on Vance Hines' team if that wasn't the case. So, all of it makes sense. All of it was for a reason. Kind of tying it together, I was thinking yesterday that, I know I keep saying yesterday, but this was my thinking day, obviously.
Right.
When I started NHRA journey with James Johnson's motorcycle, I remember I didn't have a truck or trailer, right? But I had a pro stock bike, and the only vehicle I owned was my tow truck that I was running my towing company out of. And I needed to get the bike from Florida to DeMott, Indiana at Gage Herrera's. So I put the bike, the pro stock bike, on the back of the tow truck on the flatbed and drove it. That's how I transport cover over top of it. And that's how I transported it around for a while. And then when I wanted to go to a race, I think I put it in, ironically, Gage's trailer to get to a race. It's just been, man, when I tell you a lot in it, dude, a lot of winging it led me to where I'm at right now. It's not, I wouldn't try it at home. I wouldn't encourage people to try that at home. What I would encourage you is to be steadfast in what you, in your dreams and where you're going, and don't let nothing stop you. That's what I would encourage. I wouldn't necessarily say model it out after the way I did it.
Hey, like I said, you don't hear those stories very often anymore, especially these days with, what it takes to get into positions to be on a pro stock motorcycle. But man, to have a suitcase type journey and to be able to tell that story and a scrapper's attitude, which kind of brings me to that my next question is kind of what I want to get into. At the banquet, I love the first part of your speech where you seemed like you were a little bit more concerned on not being up there for Gage's team picture. Cause like, hey man, I worked on that bike. Like we accomplished some stuff. Like I wanted to be up there. I really thought that was pretty cool. But what I wanted to transition into was the scrapping part of it. Man, the way Pomona went down, I talked to you a little bit and, before it all kind of washed out and you're like, well, hey man, it ain't gonna hurt my feelings, but the scrappiness in Richard Gadson wants to go out there and prove, hey, I'm racing for it. I want to go in it. So how's Gainesville going into Gainesville as a champion? I'm going to bet that you have a little bit different feeling going in.
Yeah, for sure. First thing was the Gage thing was because we won crew of the year for his entry in pro stock motorcycle. And last year, the format of the banquet was a little different, and we all went up there. Well, prior to the banquet, Brian Lones told me, he says, when we call you up there, you're up there from crew of the year, and then we'll bring you up. So they did 10-2. Then they did crew of the year. And when they called up crew of the year, I'm like, should I go? Like, because I want to be a part of it. But right. I knew he told me that that's when they would call me up. So it was kind of a little confusion, but I'm glad you caught that. But yeah, you're one of the people who I did. A lot of emotions happened in Pomona. It was a lot of time to think. And point throughout the weekend, I thought that I was okay with it raining out. I was like, I'm first in points. I don't know if I put a lot of thought behind the emotion or if I was just thinking logically, looking at the numbers, like, hey, if it rains out, I win the championship. And I didn't think about the emotion side behind it. Once that became the reality, I realized that I could have accepted racing him and losing easier than I've accepted winning it the way I did. Now, that's a double-edged sword because when you say winning it the way I did, I fought my ass off. I scrapped, like you said.
You had to be there. You had to be there in the end.
I had to be there, being first in points up to that point was up for grabs for anybody. Anybody could have been bought, and it wasn't just a countdown. Like, I earned a lot of points between Charlotte 1 and Vegas. And if Gainesville didn't happen, I'd have still been in first in points. So like, I've told myself things like this, that says, you deserve it. And I know I deserve it. You just played that highlight reel. The worst light I had in the final round was an 020. Yeah, it was a 20. It was the worst light I've had. So it was I know I worked hard and I know I deserve it, and I do give myself that. But I think that had we gotten to race in Pomona, you know, the way the story was going, so Vegas comes and he's 4 or 500s faster than me, right? So going into Pomona, it was like, it looks like Gage is going to be the favorite. He's going to make this happen. And that very well may have been the case. Who knows? But I know my crew chief, and I know that the conditions in Pomona at sea level were closer to what he's come for Sonoma.
Yep.
Qualified number 1 by 400s. Grove, I was first or second. I think I qualified second, but I probably had more low ETs.
Like a little bit more moisture in the air.
Yep, just he's that's right, but sea level, and I know that that's his comfort zone for tuning. Vegas is an anomaly throughout the year, pretty much, and he just he couldn't find it there. So going into Pomona, that we would be right there neck and neck, and that we qualified 1 and 2, or at least on the sides of the ladder, 1 and 3, whatever it would have been. I wouldn't have cared if it was 4 and 7, as long as we were on opposite sides of the ladder. And I envisioned us racing our way to the final, and I think it was going to be better than people think. I think people were looking at Vegas and thought it was going to be a walk away on his end, according to the comment section. But I think it was going to be, a dog fight, and I know what my mindset was. I know how I was going to race, and I've been in positions like that umpteen times in my career. And I typically perform well under those high pressure situations. The problem is that so does he. It was going to be it was going to be a good one, man. But I will say that I don't think that now that it happened the way it did, I didn't mean I wouldn't have rathered it rained out. I would have rather raced however it turned out is how it would have turned out. But it gives me a big motivator going into 2026. Basically to prove that I belong, prove that is prove that I belong. I think I did that already, but just to kind of give you a little bit something extra to catch here, to keep you sharp, keep you on your toes, and keep you motivated to go out there and be just as hungry as you were last year. And that's pretty much what that is for me.
But going back, that just goes to the whole mantra of Richard Gadson. We're just going to keep clawing and scrapping and take what we can get. And we're going to go get the next one when we get there,
Yep.
And, but yeah, how did going through the weekend though, as Q1 get
lost you, dude. Well, this is a first. I've never been a person on the podcast, and I'm not even the host.
Are you there?
There he is.
Where did we leave off? I don't know what just happened.
That's the first time you were asking me a question, but that was the first time I've ever seen the host leave the chat.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
Normally it's the guest that does it. I was ready to start carrying on your podcast for you.
That would have been all right. Take it away.
Yeah. No, but you said that going throughout the weekend, and then you mentioned Q1, and then it went out. So you didn't even explain what you were saying about
Q1 gets scrapped. That's a little bit of a breather. When did the nerves? I know it had to start compressing because I seen you early in the weekend. That's when we was talking, and I was just walking around, and I didn't really want to bug anybody. I was just generally walking around and watching, and you looked, on Friday you looked a little bit more compressed, and then Saturday wasn't really sure, but we were pretty much thinking. Don't know, but you seem a little bit more tense. How did it play out in the weekend? Did you kind of start tense up and then?
I think that, like I said, man, it was just way too much time to think. Normally in a normal race weekend, you're moving around. You got driver intros, you got interview here, you got, working on the bike, you got tech, you got to run, and you got to run again in 2 hours. You got fans, autograph sessions. There's so many things happening that you don't really get a chance to think on this bike rolling into the burnout box. This weekend was nothing but time to just sit and stare around. I always say, I said this week, that weekend, I should say, I made a bunch of jokes. I said, this is where you learn how much you like your crew guy, because you only got
close to them.
Sit around with these guys, and you're like, man, how much do I like you? I've been around you nonstop, but no, I wouldn't say tense is what it was. I would say that it was just more anxious, just ready for something. You know, and it was discouraging because you look at your phone and you didn't see an end in sight. And in all my racing years and my whole entire career, I've never seen a situation like this where
in California,
in California for one, but like weather changes, right? So like
relentless.
you might see 100% chance of rain for 3 or 4 days, but when you wake up the next morning, one of those 40, and then you see or if you look at the weather thing moving, then you'll see it kind of like change directions or move. This storm literally looked like it was sitting in the same spot. It was just stuck there. It wouldn't move. It wasn't going out. And like the little bit that you did see kind of phasing around the mountain, it looks like it would go back around and go back to the bottom again. And like it was just like this thing that just wouldn't go away. So when you're looking at it and you're uncertain because you got families at home, you got people asking you what's happening, and it's like, I don't know if I'm going to be home Tuesday. I don't know if I'm going to be home the following Tuesday. I have no idea what's happening, and nobody knew. I think at a point for NHRA didn't know what to do. I don't think anybody knew what to do. So by Saturday or Sunday, when you saw us that tense, that was what it was. It's like, what's happening? What's going to happen? Is it going to stop? I mean, it was so much standing. Our pits were like flooded. It's like,
yeah. It was bad. Did you
just
see
the uncertainty? Yeah, it was crazy.
It was a river, man. It was bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was
the uncertainty is what is. I'm sorry, you first.
No. Uncertainty was what was getting you.
The not knowing is what was getting to you, man. And you don't know what to do with your time. You go to the hotel and then you sit there and you're like, well, I don't want to sit here. Or go to the track. You go to the racetrack and you sit there and you're like, well, I don't want to sit here and watch it rain.
Right.
It's like, what do you do? It's like it was a terrible, terrible, terrible situation. It was in a tough spot. And so that's probably what you saw by Saturday was just fatigue of the situation.
I feel you. That was my first national event as a media member. And got the red eye in Thursday night, got to the track. Yeah, I got to the track 8:00 Friday morning.
That's just
and we all know what happened. And the same thing happened Saturday. I've been to several national events. I've just never been to one as media member. And here's the kicker. As I was explaining to you earlier, I do iRacing as my streaming. Well, that mountain range that you can see there, it's the same one you can see from Ontario Airport. It's the same one you can see from Fontana Speedway. So I go out there all weekend and I look at that dreary mountain, and then I get back home and I'm on iRacing and we're racing at California. So I'm looking at the sunny mountain range in California that I've been looking at raining all weekend. And it was sunny there, and it was just a real kick in the pants, it's like, come on. It's like, could we not do that? But
yeah, that's terrible.
So Gainesville, how are we? So, well, one thing I want to bring up, Braden Davis, the rookie. That was my vote for rookie of the year. I'm excited about Pro Stock Motorcycle. To me, this is the tightest. I mean, this is one of the tight. I mean, this is good. This is good racing. You guys are all real tight, all real close. Tell me about what's 26 to bring and how optimistic. I know we're optimistic, but a lot of things coming in.
Yeah, no, the class is crazy right now, dude. To win or to go rounds in this class right now and stuff, you got a lot of people jam-packed in there. Really tight racing, really good riders, really teams. It's tough right now, which makes it fun. You don't take a single round for granted. Winning a race, when you're done, you're exhausted physically, mentally, because of the fight that it took from Sunday morning to the winner's circle. I mean, the people you're through, the kind of mental toughness you have to display. The class is really, really, really hard right now. Eddie makes a joke. He says, "Oh, you're tired after 4 minutes total of work," because that's how much time you spend on the bike.
Oh yeah,
but yeah, it's really tough right now. Braden was one of those pleasant additions to the class this year. He was a big monkey wrench in this whole deal because him and the countdown made things complicated. He beat me in the countdown. he beat Gage in the countdown. So, so you take those rounds that we lost to Braden Davis and you think about how things could have been differently. I think he beat me in Indy as well. So like he was on one of our motorcycles, which complicate because we're like, I know what he's got for a machine.
Right. Yes.
He's 19 years old. He's hungry. He's confident. He don't owe us any favors. So like this is a problem. He's a problem. But it was a pleasant problem. It was fun. Nobody wants to go out there and dominate and walk their way to wins, or never experienced that personally myself. But I know for a fact that Gage doesn't want that. He doesn't like it like that. He's having more fun right now than he did in 2023 when all he had to do was show up and he was going to win pretty much. The sad part about Braden is we don't know if he races in 2026. I think he's out there trying to find funding to do this. His deal was he really overachieved. Only supposed to be on 2 races in the beginning. It was only Bristol and Virginia. Then he found
really overachieved.
Then his sponsor stepped up and wanted him at the U.S. Nationals. So it turned into 3 races. Well, that was the end. We said our goodbyes at the end of the U.S. Nationals. Thanked them. That was it. And then short time after, we had some other people entertaining, renting a bike, and then short time after, he says, "Listen, I got the money to do the whole countdown." And at the end of Pomona, he really had a hard time with it kind of came to realize that was all he had up until that point. So anybody out there that the kid wants to race, but so hopefully we can see Braden out there. But there are still other new people coming in the class. Other new bikes are being built. We have a gentleman that's going to ride our bike all of 2026. There's a lot coming down the pike, man. Gainesville, I think you're going to see pretty much leave off where we left off in Vegas. Everybody's giving it their best fight. Me and Gage are right there. We're not going to forget the unfinished business. That we didn't get to do. So
the table's still set.
Yeah, Matt Smith exactly. Matt Smith didn't quite have the countdown that you're used to seeing from Matt. I'm sure he's coming to Gainesville with a chip on his shoulder to prove that he's. I mean, Angie was there for the last couple races.
Right.
Gianna's going to be looking for a redemption year. Chase Van Sant, who is widely known and understood as one of the best riders in the class. I'm sure the war team will be trying to find a few extra ponies to get him where he needs to be. It's going to be interesting, man. It's just, I think we have the personalities, we have the different combinations, we have everything there to make up a great show, and I think people are starting to catch on. You don't see quite as many people leave the stands now that they used to when the bikes would come up.
That's the truth, man. I was talking to my cousin earlier today about some of the things that I think might be hampering some of the fans, and a lot of it is personalities and some of the old school stuff, man. It's a bummer that the Nitro cars don't do smoky burnouts anymore. That's a fan attractor, whether anybody likes it or not, man. The fans love that kind of stuff. You go to them old Diamond P videos, it's all burnouts and crashes, So
I say that all the time. I say, back when I think it's in a great state right now, but I think one of the missing things is, now the Nitro cars barely do. They just clean off the tires.
Yeah.
The term John Force burnout was back in the day when they did smoky burnouts to, for 200 or 300. And
yes,
that was a big thing. And I think nighttime sessions was another big thing that fans really liked. And I've noticed NHRA starting to implement that more now.
Yep.
We've been having more and more night sessions for a couple of years there. It was like, 1 or 2 a year, maybe.
Yeah, there's something magical about a Friday night.
It's a Friday night under the lights.
Yes.
And 2 Nitro cars going down the racetrack. It's just amazing. So, those are 2 things that's key. But yeah, back to the personalities, I noticed that class is cool because you can see the drivers, you can see us, you can see our bodies, our faces. Well, not really our faces, but our heads. You see a little bit of the gamesmanship we play at the start line, et cetera, et cetera. Whereas though in the cars, you kind of gotta you don't really know what's going on with the driver itself. So I think cool class, man. I think we got a great group of people that make up our class, and hopefully we expand on that even more. Hopefully people realize that you can be competitive now. Braden Davis was he finished top 5 in points this year on our rental program. So, hopefully people see that and want to come try their hand at it. He beat Gage, he beat Richard, he beat Matt, he beat all the people on just a rental program. So come on out and race with us, guys.
Going back to your roots, I just want to touch on that again because we got some mutuals there from up at the hill, and knowing those guys, the everybody that you hung out with up there, the Scotts, the Woodalls, all of them. Going from there to NHRA Pro Stock Motorcycle Champion, just put that into perspective. I know we've talked about it, but like that, just if down there on the other side of the track at the hill where the motorcycles guys park, if you've been down there and we got a Pro Stock Motorcycle Champion here, man, that's I don't know if anybody can put that into perspective, but that's
they
badass.
Can't put that in perspective unless you've been to the hill and raced.
Yes,
it's hard to ride that together. One of my good friends, his name is Jeff Jones, Fast Time Motorsports. He's from Nashville, and he was one of the people who I came to the hill and rode for quite a good bit. I just talked to him 2 days. He was down at the Snowbird Nationals race 60, and he won the race. He was 36 bikes there, I think, and Jeff won the race. He's a guy from the hill. Ronnie Woodall is I don't know how many time champion on the hill, and the Scotts, Ricky Scott, and there's so many people. I think that some of that backyard racing, if you can take what you learned through those days of like you say, the grit and toughen it out. It's not a fancy track, a pretty track. You had to learn how to get down that racetrack. It wasn't just you weren't just racing your dialing, you were racing the racetrack, et cetera, et cetera. And I think that if you can take those skills that you learn from those experiences, places like that, and you do make it to some of these levels, it helps you. That's kind of a feather in your cap you can take, or I should say, an ace in the hole is a better term for knowing how to win rounds. And there's a lot of racers that come from that place, man. Like, it's not a pretty place, but it's a gritty place. There's a lot of good racers that come from there. I don't know the car side so well, but I'm sure there's some of those as well. But big shout out to Jeff Jones, Fast Time Motorsports. Congratulations on your win down there at the Snowbird Nationals. The list goes on of people from the hill. But that's just one of the, like, when you asked me about my roots, when I said I moved around Nashville, I lived there twice.
Yeah,
I lived in Nashville twice, at 2 separate occasions for 2 seconds. My daughter was born in Nashville. I'm from Philadelphia. My kid was born in Nashville, renting a house from Chris Bostic because I was tuning for him at the time, and I was kind of trying to run my towing company out of Nashville. So, I remember my kid was just born. She was only about a month old. And a guy that I ride for named John Childry out of Nashville, he called me, man, come on over here to the hill, man. We got a grudge race we want to do at 10 o'clock at night when he called me. And I lived in Mount Juliet at the time. It's 40 minutes to the racetrack. So he's man, I said, what time does the track close? He says they close at 11. They close at 11. It's 10 o'clock right now. You got to leave right now. We just going to do it off. That's what the hill is. I got in my car, loaded my daughter up and girlfriend, because my girl's a racer too. She's like, I'm not staying here while you go race. I want to go watch. So we took our 1 month. Yeah, we took our 1 month old kid and my girl and drove up and on I don't know what day they're open, Wednesday night, Thursday night house, and we did a grudge race at the hill, and I drove back home.
Just laid it down there and took off, huh? That's it.
Yep.
Here we go.
That was it. But that's the kind of crowd you got there, man. I miss those pinky races when he was throwing those races. Those were big, man. It was those were some big days.
Those are big motorcycle races. But yeah, from that to Pro Stock Motorcycle Champion, phenomenal. I greatly appreciate your time. I greatly appreciate you coming by and hanging out, and just kind of give us a little bit of insight about becoming a champion, what it feels like, and kind of give us an idea of what you got going on in 26 and that feeling of maybe there is something left to prove.
I appreciate it, man. It's it's still sinking in for me. I haven't quite, I'll be able to tell it. Eddie says to me, when he asked me, he's like, has it sunk in yet? And I'm like, not really. Today, my championship trophy just arrived. Like, I haven't had my trophy yet, right? So it just arrived today. Terry Vance, our big boss, flew in from California. I don't know if he picked it up or if he flew it with him. I'm not sure, but I was working and my general manager came and got me, said, you need to go outside. And I grabbed my trophy and I brought it in, and the whole shop was all there, kind of like a meeting or whatever. And it's all 25 people, everybody start cheering. It's things like that that kind of start making it real to me, because in the moment when I was awarded the championship, it wasn't really a sorry thing, because everybody was just kind of like, man, this sucks, like even including me.
Right.
It's just, it was like a hard kind of thing to get yourself charged up about. But the banquet started to make it feel real. Today's event started to make it real. But Eddie said to me, he says, it's all going to come to a head. It's all going to start feeling like, wow, when you roll into Gainesville with number 1 on the side of your bike. He says, that's when you're going to be like, this was pretty good. This is pretty
cool. Put that one on that plate.
I believe that. I believe when I go to Gainesville and I stick that sticker on the side of my wheelie bar panel with the big number 1, I'm going to be like, I did it. I think that's when it'll all come together. So, but it's starting to sink in.
I'll make sure to find you and get a picture of that with you, because I'm going to be down here in Gainesville too. Yes, I live down here in Sanford, so I won't be too far away. But again, thank you for your time. Good luck. Have a great.
Real quick before you go, before you do your outro, you live in Sanford.
Yes.
I used to live in DeBarry.
Okay, yeah, right up the street. It's just right up the street, man.
Right up the street. See, I told you I lived a little bit everywhere. So you see I'm telling the truth, because I've lived a little bit everywhere.
Yep.
But no, I appreciate you having me, man. It's always a pleasure to thank you for everything you've been. Hopefully your next race weekend with media credentials is bright sunshine.
Well, it'll be closer, so either way, it won't be that bad. It'll be closer, so that's fine. But hey, man, right. Thank you. Have a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and we'll see you in Gainesville. And thank you for your time, bro. And congratulations, dude. Hell of a job.
Thank you, man. Sure appreciate it, buddy.
Sir.
Have a good one.
Yep.
Bye.
All right. That was Mr. Richard Gadson, Pro Stock Motorcycle Champion. That was a fun interview. The mutual contacts that we have, the stomping grounds. Pretty cool to see somebody with such local connections that with my local connections as well. Make it all the way to the championship. Shifting gears a little bit real quick, Alexis DeJoria signed with John Force Racing. If you'd read in the press release, it said John Force will expand to 4 teams. So, and I believe I've seen it. I didn't get the picture of it, but I believe I've seen Friday they will be announcing the 4th driver, who's replacing Austin Prock. I believe Friday at the PRI show, 2:00. I think I might have seen that. Not sure on the time. Don't quote me on that. Pretty sure it said Friday though. PRI. But Alexis DeJoria signs with John Force Racing. Huge step for her. That'll be exciting. Step in the right direction for her. Obviously going to bring some good collaboration with John Force and some tequila. So, man, I can't thank Richard Gadson enough. Again, stopping by, taking some time out of his time as a champion, coming by to hang out with us, and and give us a little bit of insight on how it felt to win the championship, but still have something left to prove. So with that said, thanks everybody for tuning in. For everybody at ATYL Media, Miss Taylor Kitchen, I'm Big Duke. This is Nitro Nation. Thank you very much. We'll be back. We'll have another show before Christmas. Stay tuned to Instagram, Twitter, and everywhere else for more information on our next show. But until then, you guys keep digging. Big Duke out.